Tonight on NewsWatch Ole Miss, the Oxford community dedicated its lynching memorial over the weekend. We'll take a look at the ceremony and hear from some of those in attendance.
Across
By
the world,
what we've seen in Bucha and vicinity, we can conclude that Russia is worse than ISIS.
Across the world, officials are calling for Russia to face a trial for war crimes. The latest on the war in Ukraine is straight ahead.
We don't agree on much in the Senate, but not one senator on this committee has questioned that she is well qualified.
And a Senate panel is voting today as Judge Jackson continues her path toward the Supreme Court bench. We'll have the latest details on that vote coming up. NewsWatch Ole Miss starts now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Sarah Gale.
And I'm Hannah Baker. Months after it was unveiled, Oxford's lynching memorial finally got its dedication this weekend.
My dad hated Mississippi because of what had happened to his father. So my hopes is that Mississippi can be now seen in a different light with, what we're doing here today.
Jacqueline Love was one of several relatives of Lafayette County lynching victims who attended the dedication. The UM Gospel Choir and other groups sang hymns, and several group leaders spoke before the family members processed to the marker where it was blessed. After that ceremony, many attendees moved on to the Old Armory Pavilion for the dedication of a bench in memory of Reverend E. Higginbottom, whose father was one of those lynching victims.
And more on memorials. Today marks the 54th anniversary of the shooting of civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Memphis. Fewer and fewer advocates that worked with Dr. King personally remain to tell the story. Of those who were there on this tragic day, only Reverend Jesse Jackson and former UN Ambassador Andrew Young remain. However, Dr. King's legacy and impact on our nation lives on as civil rights efforts and legislation fight to end racism and other forms of discrimination.
The university announced plans today for next school year to honor James Meredith. The 60th anniversary of the integration of the University of Mississippi is this fall, and the university plans to celebrate that throughout the coming academic year. The Chancellor's Office, the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement convened the Anniversary Planning Committee this past December. Starting the week of September 26th, a series of events, commemorations, and other activities are being planned, headlined by the Anniversary of Integration, which will be celebrated Saturday, October 1st. The university will be launching an anniversary website with regular updates and announce events as plans are finalized.
The latest reports from the National Weather Service have now confirmed 21 tornadoes across the Magnolia State during Wednesday's storms, and now we have yet another round of storms headed our way. Strong storms are expected to roll in tonight and stick around for the next few days. The highest threat from these storms is heavy wind. There is a potential for these storms to become severe, so make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts into Wednesday.
Come this summer, state and local governments will not be allowed to use private money to fund elections. Today, Governor Tate Reeves signed Bill 1365, which prohibits state and local agencies from accepting or using private dollars to fund election-related expenses, voter education and outreach, and voter registration forms. The bill will go into effect July 1st, and details of the bill can be found on the Mississippi Legislature's website.
And tomorrow marks the beginning of the 3rd annual Giving Day here at the university. Giving Day is a campaign organized to help students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends come together to support academic programs through social media-driven challenges and offerings to help raise money for the university. Tomorrow's campaign will start at 9 a.m. and will last for 1 day, 8 hours, and 48 minutes to honor the school's founding year, 1848. Those who want to participate and support the university can visit umfoundation.com/Giving Day, and all are encouraged to spread the word on social media with the hashtag Ole Miss Giving Day. And listen up, Ole Miss seniors, the deadline to order your cap and gowns for commencement is tonight. To place your order, go to gradsupply.com/Ole Miss Commencement ceremonies will begin a month from today on May 4th and go until May 8th with many events honoring graduates of each school. You can see a list of those dates at commencement.olemiss.edu.
This Friday, there will be a free expungement clinic in Oxford to help individuals representing themselves in expunging their criminal records. The event is being hosted by the Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project and many other committees. Individuals will receive legal court documents prepared by licensed Mississippi attorneys on supervised law students. The clinics are open to the public. However, interested participants must register online or contact MLVP at 601-882-5001 to find out if they are eligible. Expungement participants will not be able to receive services if the proper documents are not obtained prior to the clinic.
Turning now to our continuing coverage of the war in Ukraine. Today, President Biden is among several officials worldwide calling for a war crime trial of Russian President Putin following evidence of mass civilian casualties in Bucha, just outside of Kyiv. CNN's Isabel Rosales has a look at the outrage and the latest details from Ukraine.
Global outrage and calls for a war crimes trial against Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The perpetrators of all these violations and war crimes will be held accountable.
President Joe Biden vows more sanctions are on the way.
He is a war criminal. This guy is brutal, and what's happening in Bucha is outrageous.
Over the weekend, horrifying images out of Bucha near Kyiv. The bodies of at least 20 men, civilians, left scattered along a single street. The town's mayor saying this mass grave could carry up to 300 victims.
We shall never forgive them. They will never be forgiven on this earth or in heaven.
Despite all the video evidence, Russia claiming it's fake. Ukraine's president witnessing the atrocities from the ground, calling it a genocide. Unable to take control of parts of Ukraine, the Kremlin apparently revamping its war strategy, now shifting focus to eastern Ukraine, with a target date of control by early May, according to several U.S. officials.
When the war with Germany began, I was only 1.5 years.
This Holocaust survivor once escaped the Nazis as a baby. Now, at 82 years old, she's pushed out of her home for a second time.
It is very difficult when my beautiful town, when I lived all my life, is destroyed.
I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Other countries echoed Biden's sentiment of increasing sanctions as the UK's foreign secretary called for all business with Putin to be cut off. And in Germany, Russian diplomats are being kicked out.
Pope Francis might be making a trip to Ukraine. While on a flight to Malta, a reporter asked the Pope if he was considering visiting Kyiv, and his response was, yes, it's on the table. The Pope is also considering a trip to Poland, which now houses millions of Ukrainian refugees. He is battling knee pain, which he said would limit what he is able to do on the potential trip if he is able to make it at all. He has spoken to President Zelensky twice, as well as the mayor of Kyiv, who told him that his presence in the capital city could help bring an end to the violence.
News coverage from Ukraine has been plastered on screens across the U.S. and the world for most of this year, but we often don't consider what it's like for the reporters on the other side of the camera. One of those reporters met with Ole Miss journalism students last week, and NewsWatch reporter Kennedy Cooper sat in on the conversation.
Despite Russia's statement that they would be pulling away from certain frontline positions and refocusing on the eastern part of the country, we are seeing them actually keeping most of their military assets around the capital.
Philip Idner is a freelance journalist who is currently in Lviv, Ukraine. Idner spoke to the university students about the state of affairs in Europe, as well as experiences that drew him back to the country.
I was deeply affected by what happened to me on Maidan Square when I had some Ukrainian women pleading with me and begging me not to let Ukraine be forgotten. And I promised these two women who I don't know and will probably never see again in my life, but I promised, and I felt that I was promising the entire nation.
Idner spoke to students such as Hayden Wiggs, who hopes to become an international journalist after graduation. Wiggs believes Idner's style of journalism is more important than ever.
I think it's important that we go over there and report on these types of things. He clearly cares a lot about Ukraine, and you can tell, and we need more of those types of journalists who actually care.
Idner plans to move closer to the conflict zone, but only for a short period of time. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Kennedy Cooper.
Over the course of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, at least 6 journalists have been killed while on the field.
Here in our very community, people are working for the Ukrainian relief effort. A daffodil sale raised $2,300 for Doctors Without Borders and its relief efforts in Ukraine. The Taylor Flower Patch, Chicory Market, and the Wise Woman Community Group all teamed up to make it happen. The Taylor Flower Patch sold fresh daffodils that were grown on their farm in front of the Chicory Market last week. According to its website, DWB has teams prepared for a range of scenarios, including surgical care, emergency medicine, and mental health support.
General Motors issued a recall of almost 700,000 vehicles this morning. Find out what vehicles and why coming up. But first, here's a look at your current conditions.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Mom! I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Creating a legacy takes time, takes dedication, spirit, and a greater vision. That vision starts here at the University of Mississippi. What will you be remembered by? Your character, your contributions, your friendship. Your legacy will define who we are now and who we are becoming for our state, our students, and our future. Ole Miss, build your legacy.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Times during class, and I tell her to talk to him, and it's like, oh, ew.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's so good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Jackson as she faces a Senate panel vote. Confirmation for President Biden's pick for the high court is expected as soon as this week. Today, the Senate Judiciary Committee voted 11-11 along party vote before the vote, saying that she is qualified for the seat, but that they have concerns regarding her judicial philosophy.
Very gifted person. She's fought hard to be where she's at in life. I'll vote no.
Someone of her impressive caliber surely has a judicial philosophy, but maybe she just didn't want to talk about it. I will vote no.
Unfortunately, I think she and I have fundamental different views on the role of judges and the role that they should play in our system of government. Because of those disagreements, I can't support her nomination.
Jackson can make it all the way through the full Senate without a Republican vote if she has the full support of Senate Democrats.
And speaking of support, former President Donald Trump has expressed his support for Sarah Palin as she works to take over Alaska's U.S. House seat after Representative Don Young passed away last month. Trump said that it was his turn to return the favor after Palin endorsed him for president. Sarah Palin is one of more than 40 candidates vying for this role, but Trump's endorsement has the potential to seriously boost her chances.
The State Department has a new cybersecurity to defend us a lot amid concerns over Russia and China's digital authoritarianism. Formally launching today, the Bureau will put more diplomatic personnel and expertise toward everything. It can help shape norms of responsible behavior in cyberspace to helping U.S. allies bolster their own cybersecurity programs. But it's not exactly new. Rather, it's a revival of a program the Trump administration cut.
And in health news, smoking and drinking have been heard and understood as dangers to women who are pregnant. However, messaging about weed has not been nearly as effective. In fact, cannabis use among expectant mothers is on the rise, and a new study has even shown that some mothers are under the perception that weed is safe to use while pregnant, and many of them have used it instead of other medications. However, more studies have linked THC and CBD usage to childhood obesity, along with various other behavioral, neurological, and developmental issues.
If you drive a Chevy Equinox or GMC Terrain, you might want to listen up. General Motors is reporting 680,000 vehicles because of issues with the windshield wipers. It's the 2014 to 2015 models where the wipers' ball joints have been wearing away so they can fall off. It's a voluntary recall and your dealer will fix it for free.
And in the world of social media, Elon Musk is now the largest individual shareholder in Twitter, taking a 9% stake in the company. This is just 1 week after Musk said he would build his own social media network. Now, when an investor buys more than 5% of a company's shares, they must release the news publicly, but they do not have to disclose how much they paid for it, which Musk did not, but the shares were worth $2.9 billion on Friday and have now jumped to $3.5 billion today.
And coming up in sports, the Rebs got it done on the diamond yesterday with a nice win. And we'll also have some March Madness coverage for you as the competition comes down to the end. I'll have that and more up next in sports.
On October 15, 2017, 2 words changed the course of history. The words we wrote that day are a part of a longer and even more powerful history.
The wounds become scars.
Things are changing.
We really need everyone's voices.
Today, we all have a chance to write another chapter, powered by everyday activism as simple as joining a march or reading a book, written to a permanent archive on a public blockchain.
Because it takes a sea of us coming forward to demand change.
Because no matter who you are, you can act too. The end of sexual violence begins with this next act.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? So, how does a tishy dance? Put a little boogie on.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Back on track this weekend in Kentucky after being swept by the Tennessee Bulls last weekend. The Rebel offense has been called into question during SEC play, but Ole Miss left no doubt in Game 3, defeating the Wildcats 10-1 to win the series. Jack Washburn was named the starter, and besides a lone solo home run, he was dominant through 5 innings. This marked the second straight SEC win on the road for Ole Miss, and the team will look to advance their win column on the road as they travel to Pearl, Mississippi to take on Southern Miss tomorrow. Onto the tennis court, the men's tennis team went 1-1 this weekend after suffering a loss at home to Georgia and then beating Mississippi State in Starkville. Ole Miss went 5-2 against their in-state rival, almost sweeping in singles and then taking the win in the doubles category. The Rebels weren't quite as lucky in Oxford, falling in 3 straight in singles and not getting the win in doubles against Georgia. The Ole Miss women's team was also successful in their domination over rival Mississippi State with a 5-2 victory over the Bulldogs. State was able to get the first singles victory before Ole Miss won the next 4 in a row. The Rebels also took the win in the doubles category. Going back to action this Friday in Oxford as they take on the Missouri Tigers. On the green, Jackson Suber continues to enjoy success after earning his 4th individual victory as a Rebel on the final day of the Irish Creek Intercollegiate. With this victory, Suber earned the 3rd lowest individual score in program history with a 202 on the day. As a team, the Rebels came up just 1 stroke short in winning the 2nd team title of the season. They shot a 3-day score of 829 to claim 2nd place overall. Ole Miss was back in run from April 11th through the 12th. In national championship news, Aaliyah Boston and South Carolina yesterday, beating UConn to be the 2022 national champions. Just 1 year ago, the Gamecocks fell to Stanford in the Final Four round by just 1 point. Stanford went on to win that year, but it left a bad taste in South Carolina's mouth. This year, South Carolina completely dominated every opponent that they faced, including beating UConn in the national championship by a score of 64-49. Congrats to Dawn Staley and her team. We're already looking forward to next year. Staying on national championship news, the big dance is coming to an end tonight as number 8 seed UNC will take on the number 1 Kansas Jayhawks in the highly anticipated matchup. UNC is coming off of a massive high, beating rival Duke on Saturday to advance to their first national championship since 2017. Kansas, on the other hand, hasn't made it to the finals since 2008. They will be looking to defend their number 1 seed and bring a little bit of joy back to Kansas. We all know they need it. One team will be cutting down the hoop tonight, and if this game is anything like the rest of the tournament, it's sure to be entertaining. Tip-off is set for 8:20 p.m. Central Time tonight. And that's all I've got for sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch for the latest sports updates.
Thanks, Ruby. Coca-Cola released another new flavor today, and this one might not make sense until you taste it. Find out what it is up next on NewsWatch.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Soda lovers, Coke has come out with a new flavor. It's called Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Bite, and it's supposed to taste like pixels.
That's right, pixels. The company says they have made the intangible taste tangible with this new flavor. The Bite beverage is all about gaming, and the company has announced more limited edition flavors inspired by other intangible tastes like space, with one flavor called Starlight. U.S. customers can start buying Bite online on May 2nd. But is only available in a 2-pack that will cost you about $15.
You know, I actually tried the space flavor over the weekend, and it was very good. It tasted like cotton candy, kind of.
Oh, that sounds good. I feel like this one's going to kind of remind me of a McDonald's Sprite, like
Yes.
super carbonated, you know?
Like
I don't know, we'll
electricity.
find out. Yeah.
That's all for tonight. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Hannah Baker.
And I'm Sarah Gale. Be sure to follow us on social media for the latest on Ole Miss and beyond.
Thank you, and good night.